now with AI, you have that with exponential growth.
Exactly.
So they're solving millions and trillions of problems in a minute that
Not
would
only
take
that,
us.
they can make a better version of themselves. Once they become sentient, then they become God.
So is it any wonder people are afraid of technology?
Technology!
Why is everyone so afraid of new technologies like AI and humanoid robots? My partner and I attended a philosophy event the other day, and the particular topic for this evening was AI, artificial intelligence. Very interesting topic. But as I've experienced before, the discussions quickly turned into or steered into the dangers of AI and its future abilities to erase humans or whatever makes us humans, a divine power that eventually can control us individually or independently of other humans. This dystopian apocalyptic future that we envision is nothing new. You know, the robots taking over the world, zombies, aliens, AI, apes, stupid apes. But things get dark when we talk about this. Whatever should be inferior to us humans all of a sudden becomes superior. But is this fear of technology like robots and AI something universal? Do we all have this fear? Well, it might seem that the whole world perceives and reacts to AI and robots similarly, just like it might seem that the only reason for this fear is our fear of the unknown. Stupid unknown robots and apes. But what if I told you that we don't share these same cynical sentiments about AI and robots globally? That's right. Think of East Asia, for example. Many of these cultures approach robots differently than us Westerners. They often don't fear the uprise of robots, and actually they seem to embrace it. And part of the reasons they don't fear robots the same way we do can be that they culturally focus less on the self, on the individual, and more on their surroundings. In other words, egocentric focus versus allocentric focus. According to some East Asian cultural roots, humans are just a part of nature. We're not superior creatures. And these cultures tend to be less individualistic, which is reflected in their storytelling traditions, which are less self-focused and more group-focused. In Hollywood, which focuses much more on the story hero, the shit hits the fan without exception. Whenever robots, AI, genetically modified creatures, or apes catch up with humans, of course Wall-E is an exception, and a human, often in singular, has to save us from this inevitable apocalypse that the rise of new technology means. Before I explain why this is important to understand, I recently discovered a scientific article from a study that explored the social and cultural factors influencing the widespread use and acceptance of robots in Japan and the global West, that is Europe, Canada, the US, Australia, and so on, and so on, and so on. The study compares how human and robots are depicted in images on Google when using the terms robot-human relationships and robots-people interpersonal in Japanese or English. And this is interesting. Images obtained through Japanese searches often depicted humans and robot looking together at something else, a third item. By contrast, images that they acquired through English searches often depicted a human and a robot facing each other and looking at each other directly. The first observations reflected how Japanese woodblock prints, known as ukiyo-e, often features a mother and a child looking at something together other than themselves, while Western paintings of a mother and a child usually tend to reflect their interaction between the two. How is this interesting? We're talking about robots here, because it's connected with the concept of wa in Japanese cultures, which represents harmony and balance and influences how babies are perceived. Babies are often seen as a part of a larger social fabric, connected to family, community, and nature. Of course, Western cultures also value family bonds, but individualism seems to be much more prominent here in the West than in other places such as East Asia. The portrayal of babies in Western art and media often emphasizes the individual child and the parent-child relationship where the child and the parent are distinct, a so-called dyad. So in the context of robots, we can see that the Japanese images depict some kind of camaraderie between robots and humans, which, to clarify, can be an unintentional illustration of the two. As the researchers discuss, this explanation is consistent with the results of previous studies showing that, compared to Westerners, Japanese people are more favorable to humanoid robots than non-humanoid ones, whereas European people expect robots to aid them in practical tasks. So in Western cultures, we might perceive that we are and should remain the superior ones, the superior creatures over other creatures. This notion can help us understand the relativity of reality and how cultural values can differ between one part of the world and the other. And it also highlights how, even science and technology may be tainted by these different cultural values as well, which I'm saying in the most neutral terms imaginable. So how can we reduce our fears of new technology, AI and robots? Well, you would probably always be cautious of new stuff, like new technology. It's inevitable, and it's part of the reasons why we've survived as human beings. But we can also use this knowledge to reduce our anxiety or fear of new technologies or new stuff in general. Apart from familiarizing ourselves with new technology, we can take a step back and remind ourselves that our realities are relative and that they are products of our surroundings, our biases, including our fears. Sometimes those surroundings are spelled Hollywood, colonial mindset, or specific religious beliefs. Just because our culture or environment is oppressive, aggressive, or conquering, or we start wars, pollute the environment, or extinguish species, doesn't mean it directly translates to other cultures and minds. And the same is true for our values and ethics. We revisit our cultural biases as soon as we start labeling things as good or bad. For example, Stephen Hawking once said, the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Look, I have nothing but respect to the late Stephen Hawking and his work, but his dark, futuristic image, apocalyptic image of AI and how it can threaten humans and humankind may be reflecting how we behave and perceive the world in this part of the globe. But does this extend, or is this applicable to other creatures or superhuman beings? Ask yourself, are they predisposed to act the same way we do? You could just as easily imagine that if robots, superhuman babies, aliens, or AI are so advanced and so smart, they might have been smart enough to switch off the primitive part of the brain. Maybe they will figure out how to live harmoniously and sustainably with nature and other beings. So our fears of the unknown are ultimately a reflection of ourselves. They project our flaws and where we need to improve. The dangers that we foresee, in the future may reveal the weaknesses that we have as a society. So instead of freezing and expecting the worst, we can use our fears of robots, AI, aliens, and technology in general to fix our problems here. Maybe that would bring us positive vibes. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do that, and let's keep this discussion alive. Something that helps is a like. If you have any comments, share them down below. Otherwise, until next time, peace. Particular focus. Oh, Jesus Christ.